footballs that got run over.
All right, welcome to Greenville City Council. Please call the roll.
Brown.
Here.
Ewing. Here. Godwin.
Here.
Norris.
Here.
Rogers. Here. Schmidt.
Here.
White.
Here. Let's stand for the pledge. Let's.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Approval of the minutes. If you've had a chance to read the minutes, any additions or corrections? If not, those will stand approved. Approval of the agenda. Do we still have a need for, we have a need for an executive at the call of council? I think that's the only other change.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to approve the agenda as amended. Discussion? Call the roll.
Brown.
Yes.
Ewing.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Public hearing. Anyone wishing to address council, please step forward. If not, we will move on to administrative reports. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I want to thank, I haven't done this in a while, and I want to thank every one of our employees who serve us, all of our department heads, every one of our employees who put in so much time and dedication to working for the city of Greenville. I want to thank all you who served in your wards and your at large. And I want to thank all of our elected officials. This is a dedicated proposition. And I just want to express my thanks for everyone who does what they do. Second of all, I just want to call attention to the under old business. We're going to be talking about recreational marijuana again. And I just want to bring forth an article that I saw not too long ago about Dayton Children's Hospital seeing nearly 600% increase in child marijuana ingestions at their ER. And this article was dated October 25th to 24, so it's nothing that's old news. Edible marijuana products can look just like regular candies and snacks, and making them incredibly dangerous for our children. And just one marijuana cookie or candy bar can contain several times the recommended adult dose of THC, leading to serious overdose effects in our children. You know where I stand on this subject. I don't think it's a good thing for our future. And like I will point out again, the people in this area in West Central Ohio and in Greenville and Dark County with an even higher level of vote turned down the recreational use of marijuana. And in doing so, it was inferred that they didn't want marijuana dispensaries as well. That's my opinion. I think anybody who voted no would say the same thing. So with that, I pass.
Thank you. Moving on, Safety Service Director, Mr. Dell.
Thank you, Mr. President. A few things for this evening. First, I know we've been talking about transportation and county transportation, so we met with the county commissioners again this morning to discuss county transportation. The commissioners have decided to not renew the contract that expires March 31st on county transportation. They just didn't feel that the fiscal cost was worth the amount of ridership that they were seeing out into the county. So we're going to put together a plan. We'll still have Greenville Transit. It'll just be inside the corporation limits moving forward is the plan, but we want to get that out there for anyone who has been utilizing it. And we have a lot of scheduled rides that our transit facility is going to put out a memo as well to all of our ridership. They did, if you recall, the ODOT is doing a transit development plan that's going to come in June 30th. They would like to review that plan when it's over and kind of see where they're at financially at that point and have a further discussion. But at this point, they're going to move forward with not renewing that contract.
When does that one run out?
March 31st.
Is that going to end all of them, like from Arcanum or sales?
Yep, the trip will have to start or end in the corporation limits. The best way to word it.
Start or end, or start and?
Start and end. Start and.
Will that create any changes to the budget?
It will. It'll have to. In the revenue side, we're going to take a look at that. And then the biggest areas that you're going to see the changes, the fuel consumption, the maintenance consumption, and then the salary line as well, because we won't need as many drivers on the road at that same time. I'm going to look at it. We're going to look at it and see what is going to work best to move that forward. But since we just found this out this morning, we're going to need a little time to make that happen. Second one, we did bid openings for residential trash service this morning. Rumpke was the only bidder, so I will be going over those bids here this week, and then next council meeting we'll bring something to present to council for those bids. Just because everyone I'm sure is wondering, it's looking like it's about a 7% increase in residential trash service. Still, everything else will stay the same as far as the bag service and the recycling and the toter sizes and all that stuff. And then last but not least, last week I emailed out the comprehensive plan to everyone. My thought process on it is we can do it by email. If council would rather do a committee as the whole or something to review it, we can do that as well and kind of go through everything. But just wanted to make sure everybody received that, and if anyone had any questions on it so far. And I will pass.
All right.
Ryan, when does the Rumpke change?
May 31st.
Okay.
Got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Omnifiber and Brightspeed.
Yep.
Driving down Wagner Avenue, looked up at Captain D's sign, there's a big black box about this tall hanging from the lines. Jackson, there's cable laying down there. Go down the alleyways down by Dark County Contractor, there's boxes, laying on the ground.
So like a round black with wires going in it? Yeah, I've noticed some of those around as well, and reached out to both of them, Brightspeed and Omnifiber, because I'm not sure whose is whose, and told them that they needed to be tied up.
Yeah, down on Front Street, they were just hanging down over there.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them, and we, planning and zoning, we send them a list once a week of items that they need to repair, and that's on the list.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Mr. Director? All right, moving on. Law Director, Mr. Reaman.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Just two quick things tonight. First, there's been some questions about the minutes that we have for council. Our minutes are in compliance with what we have to have per the Ohio Revised Code and per case law interpreting that. It's not really clear in our rules and regulations the detail that we want to have in our minutes. Anytime it's not clear, we kind of tend to default to Robert's rules, and Robert's rule says you can record the actions or you could have verbatim. Obviously, we can amend that and find whatever council wants to do. I think at this stage, to eliminate any of the confusion that may be out there, if council would just provide clarity of what they want. We're unable, the one thing that is clear is we're unable to record just the actions. The case law says that that's not acceptable for a city body. And so if council can provide me some direction, if you want to continue with the way things have been with a summary, I just need to, or would like to amend our rules and regulations to reflect that. Or if you want to go to verbatim minutes, that's an option as well, completely up to you, so.
Discussion on that?
I think we're doing it okay.
I like the way they are.
Yeah, I agree.
I personally would like to see them verbatim, because I think we're missing, in the summary, we tend to miss some of the dialogue that goes on that can, on occasion, be pertinent.
Yeah, and there is always the ability for council to amend the summaries if you feel it's not reflective of the actual discussion.
But that's another process of finding a way, going back through everything to cover that. I think verbatim makes that a no-brainer, and it complies with Robert's Rules of Order. It wouldn't be my position.
Do you need a motion, or how would you like?
Yeah, so if there's just a recommendation and take a vote, then I'll prepare, if we're going to continue with the summary, just for clarification purposes, I'll prepare an amendment to the rules and regulations.
If I may, before you take that, I would also like verbatim, because sometimes you get a summary and it looks like, did I really say that? Or, so I'm just saying, I like verbatim as well, because it kind of gives you a really good idea of what goes on. And I think sometimes summaries, no offense to Miss Jessica, because she does a wonderful job, because I just wouldn't want that job at all. But I think verbatim is just a way in today's elements and in society and the political arena, sometimes verbatim is better. So, my opinion. Now, Mr. President, I'm done.
I make a motion that we move to, or recommendation that we move to the verbatim minutes.
Motion by Mr. White to make our minutes verbatim. Discussion? Call the roll.
Brown,
No.
Ely,
Yes,
Godwin,
No.
Norris,
No.
Rogers,
No.
Schmidt,
No.
White.
Yes.
All right.
So based upon that, even though it wasn't an affirmative vote, I will prepare the amendments to do the summary as we keep doing it, and then that'll be able to be voted on next meeting for clarification purposes. Again, everything that we're doing now is fully in compliance. So that was number one. Number two,
Mike, before you go away from that, I thought that our procedure basically said that when in doubt, you follow Robert's Rules of Order.
so for points of procedure, we follow Robert's Rules of Order, is how it specifically states. And if you would, okay, happy to clarify later.
It's fine.
The other issue that we have is I just wanted to touch on briefly, ordinance number 5 is an ordinance to amend the public records policy. There was a state bill that was passed that allows us to charge more. We're spending a lot of times when people request body cam footage to get them all together to redact things, and so that's what that ordinance does.
Is it specific to the body cam?
It is specific to videos that need to be redacted.
Do we carry any liability when we redact those and then distribute them? Is there any liability that goes with that for our process of redacting?
If we did it in a negligent manner, then yes.
That's never come up before, has it?
It has not, to my knowledge.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I guess the fees that you determined in line with other cities and entities around us.
Yeah, so the statute stated,
Something we might be low.
and so it's stated that we could charge $75 per video up to a maximum of $750. We chose to put in $25 per video. In talking with the chief, he determined that that number fully covered. The fees are also supposed to be reasonable to cover wages, and so it's not meant to be put in to be a deterrent to making public records requests, so we're comfortable with the $25.
Okay.
And that's,
Curious.
yeah, and it's per video. And so most of the times when there's a traffic stop, you've got a dash cam, you got a body cam, you got a backseat cam. And so even at $25, you get to $75 very quickly, and it's per hour of video. So it adds up quick.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Little?
That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Moving on, under Mrs. Davis.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say, with this being the final reading of the budget, I want to say that we have a very dedicated staff and administration that serve the citizens of this city. And I want to thank all of them for that. They have worked very hard in trimming this budget in every way that we can, and we will continue to be fiscally responsible like we have been in the past. We are responsible to the citizens of the city with the funds that we are entrusted with. I have also distributed the tax department report through the end of February. We are trending in a good direction. We are 6.9% above the trend from 2024. So that's good news there. Also, council had asked that I prepare a report that was a little bit more of a synopsis of the budget. So that's what I handed out today. And I wanted to make sure that, so what this states, it's a spreadsheet that I input the numbers in from the report. And what it states is the 2025 estimated revenue, so the first column is the actual cash that was carried over. The second column is the 2025 estimated revenue. The third column are those two columns added together, which would give us our estimated revenue for 2025. The last column there is the 2025 budget expenses. So those are also estimated. And then the final column would be the cash carryover, or what we intend to carry over at the end of 2025. I will, on a quarterly basis, add in what we have received in revenue, and I will also, on a quarterly basis, add in what we have done in expenses by fund. Would this be sufficient to council?
Yes.
I think so. Yes.
You're just gonna take this and just put in the actuals, basically?
I will put in the actuals quarterly, and I thought that, that you requested that we meet quarterly on that as well. Is that still-
In the committee as a whole, or whatever?
Yeah,
forum?
and that would be something that that someone would need to call or whatever, and
I
then.
mean, somehow in the open forum, so we.
Yes, it would have to be in an open session, yes.
And the only comment I would make is.
Yes.
When we do the quarterlies, taking like the quarterly revenue, quarterly actual compared to quarterly, but a quarter of the budget, quarter of the
Yeah.
revenue budget and actual budget by fund, and that way we see how it's moving and look at the next quarter.
Okay, right now, this is just the annual, so
Yeah, right.
is everyone okay with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then, yes,
Just
sure.
a second. In light of the report that you just handed out tonight, I don't know, Mr. President, if this is an appropriate time to submit this, but it does have to do with a budget request. So I'll let you peruse it first, and then, but I would like it entered into the record, because it is a request doing just what Ms. Kim said. But we want it to be on record that we want it to be a committee of the whole,
Yes, it
and
would
open to the public, and what do we have to do to get it on the calendar appropriately.
Okay,
So that's what I want entered into the record, and then there's that discount.
Very good.
okay, thank you. But this report is sufficient for everybody, okay?
We'll see where we land, okay?
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and I guess we all need to remember that these are forecasted numbers, and we will keep a close eye on them as the year continues. Okay? If there are no other questions, I will pass.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, committee reports. We have none scheduled for this evening. Ordinances and resolutions, we have 5 for your consideration. The first one is an ordinance for appropriations for the yearly funds for 2025. This has been given first and second reading.
An ordinance appropriating funds necessary for the various departments and offices of the city of Greenville, Ohio for the year 2025 and declaring an emergency. This ordinance appropriates funds of the city of Greenville for personal services, operations, and maintenance, transfers, and capital/new equipment to fulfill purposes for which the city of Greenville must provide in the year 2025. This ordinance has an emergency clause.
Move to adopt the emergency clause.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to adopt the emergency clause. Discussion? Call the roll.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Motion by Mr. Brown to adopt. Discussion?
Mr. President Pro Tem,
Yes.
the report that we were just given, and Cam, I know you and I have talked, I also agree that you and your staff and the department heads did a great job of putting this together, did a lot of work and a great job of putting this together, and I commend everybody for that. I know some of my comments sometimes didn't sound like that or feel like that, but I realize that. I personally think the shortfall fell on our side as a council. I think it fell on Doug, you and I really, you and I and Leon as part of the finance committee, where I think we could have taken a much more active role in reviewing this with Kim and probably kept a lot out of here of what ended up being discussed. But that's an editorial comment on my part. But at the end of the day, as we said here today, and I realize, as you said, they're estimates.
Yes.
This shows roughly a $4.2 million estimated expenditures exceeding estimated revenues for the year. And drawing down on our cash reserves, which again, you and I have talked about.
Yes.
We know it's not the right direction. We know it's not the right trend. We know it's not what we want to happen. But I'm a firm believer, as we have a problem or a need, that we make sure, it's like having the elephant in the room. If we don't all know it, then we can't all help with it. So it's kind of an issue for the rest of the council and myself that, we obviously are using more money than we're bringing in significantly prior to approving any CIPs this year. So if we approve $1 million of CIPs, that drawdown, all of the things being equal, goes to $5.2 million. Kim, is that correct?
So, may I address that now?
Yes,
Are you
please.
ready? Okay. So, as Mr. White has also indicated, we have had lengthy conversations regarding this budget and where we are on this budget and how it looks. I want to kind of review some of the things that I feel are important. And I know the rest of you, if you have a question, please chime in. What I gave you was a summary of the budget by fund, and it gives you a total at the end. What everyone needs to know and understand is that while this is a budget, it's a snapshot of our budget, that the funds still, like I've indicated before, have to be kept separately. These funds are, if you look at them strictly revenue and expense, then yes, we have spent because, and there is a reason for that. The reason being that in we have put money back for solids handling and for the water tower. Now, what I'll have to say about that is, if you have your own budget at home and you need to replace your roof and you have a leaky roof and you've saved 2 or 3 years, you've saved three, and you got to put $9,000 in your roof, you've saved it over time. And that's what we've done in those water and wastewater funds. And we have transferred those monies over. Council agreed and voted on a rate increase in order to put those monies back for infrastructure. And that's what we've done. And this is the year that we're spending those monies. So that does count for a portion of that. Also, the funds carryovers, if everyone looks at that last column, the fund carryovers, as they stand alone, are very, very healthy. We are not in any danger of any fund carryover being a problem. The other thing is, as we have discussed before, when we estimate these revenues and we estimate the expenses, 90% of the budget for the past 32 years, no more than 90% of that budget has been expended, and the rest of what's left in that budget goes back into the cash carryover for the next year. So with that being said, 90% of what the budget expenses are, the revenue difference is 3%. The over-under is 3%, and I fully know that it is the 3%, but that is a very small number compared to the 28 million that we are going to bring in. So I think that while Mr. White, I know he wants to compare this all the way down to the bottom line for the total line, and that's what I prepared for him, and that's what I prepared for you guys, and that's how we can review it quarterly, and we will go through this quarterly. But I think we have to look at this as a whole and look at the city as a whole and look at our numbers, and we are healthy. We do have a healthy carryover. Our accounts are healthy, our funds are healthy, and our departments are fiscally responsible, and this administration is fiscally responsible. We feel very confident that we can continue through with this budget.
Now, does the state come in and audit you every year?
Yes, so,
About 2 weeks?
yes, so the state is here, we have 2 audits. We have a conversion audit, which they take all of our assets and they convert that into a report, along with different parts, like it also includes like any of our other funding or any of our other benefits. So all of those are included in that, and to see that we are fiscally healthy. Then the second part of the audit is procedural, and those auditors come in, they're here for about a week. They gather a week to 10 days. They gather a bunch of information. They take it back. A lot of them still work from home, so they take that information back with them. They audit that. They request any more information that they want, and they usually come back on site for another 3 days later on. So normally they're here. They should be calling probably next week to set that time up, and normally they're here middle of April. And then they don't complete it. It has to be filed but in the state and the Hinkle system by May 31st.
So other cities have carryovers that go into their budget for the next following year.
Correct.
Sure.
And so we're doing nothing more than what any other city or municipality is doing.
Correct. That is correct.
And I agree with everything Kim has said, and I'm okay there, but as we look forward, or let's look backwards first. You know, if we look at 2024 and back, revenue versus expenditures was within $700,000, revenue exceeded expenditures last year. Revenue exceeded, so it was a positive.
Yes, it was a
The
positive.
year before, it was 200,000 expenses exceeded revenue at the bottom line.
Okay.
The year before that, revenue over expenditures by 300,000. And, you know, those are small numbers. Now we're looking at a $4 million number. And at the same time, again, for the whole group, you know, we're also looking forward towards taking on more debt. And it's something to be cognizant and aware and be thinking through, not to say the sky is falling. I mean, I think it's a point of concern that we all need to be cognizant and aware of, and be thinking how we as a group can be part of the solution, not part of the problem, and help continue to improve the health, because while this isn't hurting us, this is not moving in the direction of helping us. So we have a responsibility to that, is what I'm trying to say, and I think we need to take a more active role there.
I'd just like to comment a little bit. And whenever we got somebody wanting to come in the city and build or do something here in the city, I think the administration, we need to sit there and do as much as we can to try to get new businesses in town. That helps the final budget. The numbers that come in, tax revenue, employees coming to town, that would be a big plus for the city, and we need to, if somebody wants to build something, like that building over here by Family Dollar, that should have red carpet put out there, build it. It used to be the lumberyard, a business there, Monday through Friday. More tax revenue, you got tax off the building, you got tax off employees. So that makes it goes in the budget, which gives more money to the city. We built one house last year in the city. I know that Bonanza is supposed to build some here this year. Yes. But we need to, anybody wants to come to town, build something, I'm all for it. And Kim, or Miss Davis, that,
You can call me Kim.
but Kim, this 3.5 that you give us,
Yes.
appreciate it very much. A lot of reading.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a lot of reading.
When I first got on council, that was one of the things that I was told, that there's a lot of reading, a lot of papers, and it's a lot.
Yep.
And,
But I'm only a phone call away if you have a question.
or a text.
Or a text, that's right.
Yes. But I appreciate what you give us tonight, and like you said, do a quarterly meetings, see where we're at. I was here, or I wasn't on council, but I was on civil service when it came to laying police officers off, when the budget wasn't good. And we're nowhere close to that this year, but it could happen again. You just never know.
I hate to say, but we're a month away from the first quarterly meeting.
Yep.
I'd like to get the budget.
Yes, that'd be great.
Any other discussion? The motion before you is to approve. Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
White.
No.
Okay. Moving on, number 2, ordinance amending rules relating to water and sewer utility billing.
An ordinance amending rules and regulations relating to water and sewer fees and utilities billing. This ordinance amends the rules and regulations for the municipal water system and billing procedures to include the updated water and sewer rates, updated administrative fee, and updated verbiage for temporary hydrant meters.
Move to suspend the rules on this ordinance, give it second and third reading by title only.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to suspend the rules, give this ordinance a second, third reading by title only. Discussion? Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
An ordinance amending rules and regulations relating to water and sewer fees and utilities billing. An ordinance amending rules and regulations relating to water and sewer fees and utilities billing.
Motion to adopt.
Motion by Mr. Brown to adopt the ordinance. Discussion? Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
All right, moving on, number 3, we have a resolution waiving payment.
A resolution waiving payment by the Dark County Fairgrounds in the amount of $5,612.36 plus all late fees and $3,035.37 plus all late fees, representing sewer usage and late fee charges incurred as a result of a water leak at 800 Schweitzer Street, Greenville, Ohio. This resolution waives the payment made by the Dark County Fairgrounds in the amounts of $5,612.36 and $3,035.37 due to a water leak at 800 Schweitzer Street.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this resolution and read it by title only, second and third time.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules, give this resolution second, third reading by title only. Discussion? Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
A resolution waiving payment by the Dark County Fairgrounds in the amount of $5,612.36 plus all late fees and $3,035.37 plus all late fees, representing sewer usage and late fee charges incurred as a result of a water leak at 800 Schweitzer Street, Greenville, Ohio. A resolution waiving payment by the Dark County Fairgrounds in the amount of $5,612.36 plus all late fees and $3,035.37 plus all late fees, representing sewer usage and late fee charges incurred as a result of a water leak at 800 Schweitzer Street, Greenville, Ohio.
Motion to adopt.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to adopt the resolution. Discussion?
That's a lot of water.
That's a
That
ton of
leak
water.
for a long time, or they didn't see it?
It was a 1-inch line that was completely blown apart, so running at full bore 1-inch line. You can blow through a lot of water.
Where was it? Like,
By barn 6, it was underground, so they've known it for a while, like we've been telling them, like, hey, your usage is way up, but they struggle, you know, the whole entire fairgrounds has water in different spots, so that took them a while to find it.
thank you.
Any other discussion? Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Healy,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Right, moving on, number 4, we have a resolution to authorize Safety Service Director to accept quote from J&K Communications.
A resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to accept the quote with J&K Communications, Inc. for the rendering of professional services. This resolution authorizes the Safety Service Director to accept the quote with J&K Communications for the rendering of professional services related to emergency services radio maintenance.
Move to suspend the rules of this resolution and give it second and third reading by title only.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to suspend the rules, give this resolution second and third reading by title only. Discussion? Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Healy,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to accept the quote with J&K Communications, Inc. for the rendering of professional services. A resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to accept the quote with J&K Communications, Inc. for the rendering of professional services.
Motion to adopt.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to adopt the resolution. Discussion?
Mr. President,
Yes.
this is a budgeted item that's in the budget, correct?
Yes, sir.
No problem. Thank you.
Where are they out of?
Any other questions?
Where are they out of?
J&K?
Local?
Up north.
They've been doing them for years, though, haven't they?
Yeah, we used to be with P&R for a while, and then we've been with J&K for probably a good 10 years, I would say.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Motion before you to adopt. Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Healy,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Okay, moving on, number 5, an ordinance amending policy relating to public record requests.
An ordinance amending the City of Greenville policy and fees relating to public records requests. This ordinance implements a charge of $20 per hour of dash cam/body cam footage that requires reduction for any public record request.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this ordinance and read it by title only, second, third time.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules, give this ordinance a second and third reading by title only. Discussion? Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Healy,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
An ordinance amending the City of Greenville policy and fees relating to public record requests. An ordinance amending the City of Greenville policy and fees relating to public record requests.
Move to adopt the ordinance.
Motion by Mr. Brown to adopt the ordinance. Discussion? Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Healy,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to old business. We have one item there. Anyone wishing to do anything with that?
Mr. Council President, if I can ask, Law Director.
Yes, sir.
Is this the same as like our housing was?
Yep, and so the planning and zoning regulations, because it came as a recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Committee, it specifically states for council to adopt legislation, a majority has to agree with the recommendation, and their recommendation was to impose the moratorium. Or if there's not a majority that agrees, then 75% has to agree to go against it, and that would require 6 out of 7 council members to vote against it. And so at this stage, anyone could make a motion to adopt. If it fell within the voting numbers, we would move forward. Otherwise, it would continue to sit in old business.
Can we make a motion or reaction to take it off of the agenda if it's going to just be stalemated?
And so, no, because there's not, typically if something doesn't get voted on, it's tabled and it comes off. But because the language and the planning and zoning regulations are clear of where it has to fall, we're back to where we were.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Move to accept the ordinance, or however.
And so it says like Mr. Rogers is making a motion to accept the ordinance as presented, agree with the recommendation. And so again, for clarity's sake, a yes vote would agree with the recommendation and impose the moratorium.
We have a motion by Mr. Rogers on the floor to accept this ordinance. Discussion?
I have a question about, in there, and I think, I'm not sure, I have to look it up, but it talks about, does it affect the fact that people can grow plants, their own personal plants? Is that, are we passing a moratorium that says, no, they can't do that too?
It is only for recreational sales and cultivation for selling.
Commercial cultivation is what,
Commercial.
Yes, it in no way impacts possession or home use.
or personal sales.
Right. I just needed to make sure.
We have
We
other laws for that. We won't get into it.
have other laws, yeah.
Just trying to say.
Yeah, House Bill 56 is the one that's going after that, where it's changing everything what people voted on.
Right.
And taking the money away from the city, taking the money, or taking the plants away from the people that's growing them at their own personal house. And which was put in by Mr., I think it's Huffman?
Hoffman.
I think so.
Yes, so I'll remember that when it comes voting time for him. So, everybody's got their own opinion, that's why we're here.
That's right.
Yep.
Any other discussion? The motion before you is to adopt. Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
No.
Godwin,
No.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
White.
No.
So this time it actually got to the simple majority of 4 out of 7, and so it'll be adopted.
We can bring it back in a year, right?
You can bring it back
We
at any time.
can, we can bring it back next committee meeting if we wanted
We
to.
can go back in.
At any time.
Next meeting, we'll do it.
Just keep that ordinance somewhere nearby, huh?
It's on the computer.
Yeah, that's
It's very
right.
easy to do.
Keep it close.
All right, moving on, nothing under new business. Council representative, outside committee, architectural review board.
Well, we've canceled the last 2 meetings because we haven't had anything. We have a meeting next week?
Next Tuesday.
Yeah, next Tuesday, so.
Very good. We'll move on, communications. Nothing, let's call down to council.
Brown,
Pass.
Ely,
Pass.
Godwin,
Want to make a motion to excuse the absences for this month?
Motion by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules. Do we have to read that one?
No, it's just to excuse the
Okay, just to excuse the absences then, that would be for February, correct?
March, February?
February, because we did.
Yeah.
Did
Sorry.
we already do February?
No, we did not.
Yeah, we
Do you
didn't.
want to do that, or?
Yeah.
Okay. To excuse the absences for the month of February. Discussion?
Shirts inside out.
Call the roll?
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Anything else?
Nope.
Thank you.
Pass.
Norris,
I'll pass.
Rogers,
I'm going to pass.
Schmidt,
Pass.
White.
I'll pass.
Motion to adjourn? Oh, that's right, motion to executive session.
Don't we have to go somewhere?
Motion by Mr. Brown to rise to executive. This is 121.22G, is that correct?
It is for the discussion of the purchase or sale of public property.
All right.
Still, okay, I'm sorry.
Call the roll?
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin, Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
White.
Yes.